This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's my pleasure to be here with you. In this video, I'm going to go over power chords. We'll learn the main forms that we use to play all over the fretboard when we're playing different power chords. Of course, I'll explain what power chords are. And after we've got that happening, then of course we'll jam together on a couple songs. And when I say jam together, I mean you, me, and the band. We'll jam together playing a couple songs where we can work on playing the power chords that we learn with those songs. So it's going to be super great. This video accompanies lesson 16 from my Chords and Harmony Books 1 and 2 method book. In that book, we'll be starting on page 107. You'll see chord forms there, explanations about power chords, and then on page 108, we'll be playing songs 1 and 2, numbers 1 and 2, as we jam together in this video. Okay, so let's get started here. Power chords, what are they? They're a little bit different than all the other types of chords we've learned so far. So far in the lesson series, we've learned all the major, minor, and dominant seventh chords that we play in that first position or the open position. And then most recently, we've learned bar chords. We've learned them down in the first position area and all over the fretboard. Again, for major, minor, and dominant seventh chords. So what are power chords? They're actually a different type of chord. In music theory terms, they would just be considered a harmonic interval, two notes that are played together. But with guitar, we use them so frequently in different types of music that the guitar is used for, we actually just refer to them as a chord. So power chords have the root and the fifth of the chord. We haven't done a ton of music theory in these lessons. I explained a little bit way back at the beginning, but mostly we just got going with our playing. But our major chords, for example, like a C major chord, have the root, third, and fifth of a related C major scale. Steps 1, 3, and 5, and that's how you get that major chord. Minor chords have a flatted or lowered third by comparison. We get our minor chords. And then the dominant seventh chord is a major chord that has the flatted seventh added to it. Kind of a big stretch to play all those. So those are the types of chords we've been playing. Power chords just have the root and the fifth. Just kind of cool. And we call them power chords. They kind of have that power, that rock power kind of sound. And so that's what those are, theoretically speaking. When we have a chord symbol that's telling us to play a power chord, we're going to see the root followed by the number 5. So the number 5 next to that root is going to be the clue that we're playing a power chord instead of a major chord, or if we were playing a minor chord or a dominant seventh chord, those have something next to the root. But when we're going to play a power chord, we're not going to have a 5 sitting next to the root. So here's some examples. You also see some examples there on page 107. But we've got the D5, or F sharp 5, or B flat 5. So whatever the root is, as we've learned with our bar chords, we're going to put our index finger on that root note, and then we're going to play the shape that we use for power chords. But our power chords just have the root and the fifth. Now, with the power chords, the most common shapes that we use are right here up on the board. You've also got them there on page 107. For the most part, I use just the 2-fingered option, but you can use the 3-fingered option as well. But these are the most common ones that we have. And these work just like our bar chords do. So we have a shape, and we move that shape all along the fretboard to play it in different keys or different tonalities. And whatever note our index finger is on, playing that root note of the chord, is going to be the version that we're playing. So if I was playing a D5, I would have to put this note on a D, or this note on a D. So I had to put the root note on a D. Now this is what's cool about the power chord shapes. And I'll demonstrate these right here in third position. All we have to do is use our index and ring finger, and for the 6th string form, which means that the root is on the 6th string, we can play those low 2 strings. And that's all we play. And then if you want to grab with your pinky one string higher, you can double the root. Sometimes we'll play ones with a doubled root. When I first started playing power chords, I was most comfortable using all 3. But as I got to playing more and more, and even playing professionally, I mostly choose just the 2-note power chord personally. So you can do either one, but I think that there's a more definitive power sound with just the 2 notes than when you add the 3rd note. Like that extra root kind of overpowers the cool thing about the power chord. So I just play these bottom two. And then the fifth string form, where we have the root on the fifth string, is the exact same as the sixth string form, which makes it really easy with power chords. Everything is one string higher. So there at the third fret as well, I would have my root there at the third fret, and then 2 frets higher on the next string, I've got my fifth, my perfect fifth that's above that root. So that's how we get the power chord. And I can also add my pinky if I want to, but I'm just going to play with the 2 notes. That's generally how we do it. So we've got the shapes. We got the one for the sixth string form, and we got the one for the fifth string form. And you can even just go back and forth between them. You might notice if you've been playing the bar chords that these are the bottom 2 notes of our bar chords, with the sixth string having the root, and these are the notes that are on the bottom of our fifth string, meaning that the root is on the fifth string, are bar chords that have those shapes, and actually even the 3 as well. So these are just the bottom parts of our regular bar chords, whether it be major, minor, dominant, seventh. Those are the 2 notes at the bottom. Major, minor, dominant, seventh, those are the 2 notes at the bottom. So pretty cool that way. Now, like those, all that we need to know after we know how to play the shape is where to stick our index finger to play a given chord. So, if you'll remember from the bar chords, or maybe this is the first time you're stepping in, and you can check out the previous videos on bar chords, but if this is the first one you're going to, it's alright. I'm just going to review where the notes are along the fretboard on these bottom 2 strings, and you'll see there a diagram on page 107. But you'll remember, if you went through the bar chord lessons, that we have a G at the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and we have a C at the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then when we go up to the 5th fret, so our natural notes are found at the 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 10th, and 12th frets. 12th starts over with where our open strings would be. So we have a G at the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and a C at the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Then when we go up to the 5th fret, we have an A at that 5th fret of the 6th string, and a D at the 5th fret of the 5th string. Then we go up to the 7th fret, we have a B and an E. So 6th string B, 5th string E. Then we go up to the 8th fret, we have a C on the 6th string and an F on the 5th string. We go up to the 10th fret, we have a D on the 6th string and a G on the 5th string. And then we get up to the 12th fret, where things start over, just like our open strings. We have an E on the 6th string and an A on the 5th string. Generally, we don't end up playing clear up that high, but sometimes, like a guitar like the one I've chosen to use for these lessons, so you can see where the different frets are along the fretboard, as most of my guitars, or a lot of my guitars, don't have very vivid markings. This one has really vivid block inlays, so it makes it really easy. On this guitar, I could play power chords really high. Just like the bar chords, though, most often we're playing them between frets 3 and 10-ish. Maybe we don't go quite that high. Maybe we go a little bit lower sometimes. Maybe we go a little bit higher sometimes. But we kind of stay towards the center part of the fretboard in that kind of meaty portion. We can play versions of each chord right in there. So we have the natural notes at frets 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, and 12. Sharps are 1 fret higher, and flats are 1 fret lower. So that means I have a G at the 3rd fret, I'm going to have a G sharp at the 4th fret. Or I have an A at the 5th fret, I'm going to have an A sharp at the 6th fret. B sharp is the same note as C. C sharp is at the 9th fret because C is at the 8th fret. And of course I demonstrated those on the 6th string. But if I have a C at the 3rd fret on the 5th string, C sharp at the 4th, D at the 5th, D sharp at the 6th, E sharp is the same as F, which is at the 8th, F to F sharp, we go 8th to 9th, so F sharp's at the 9th, then we have G sharp, and so on. Flats go the other way, so for example, that B note at the 7th fret, B flat would be at the 6th. Or we have the E on the 5th string down to E flat, so 7th fret to 6th fret there as well. We have the A on the 6th string at the 5th fret, so A flat would be at the 4th fret. D on the 5th string at the 5th fret, D flat at the 4th fret. So that's how that works. So the first thing we have to do is identify where the root is, and then we just simply play the shape. And as you'll recall, if you've gone through the bar chord lessons, it helps to start, for the most part, right somewhere within the middle of the neck and then shift as little as possible. Sometimes we have to make a decision creatively. Maybe we don't like the lower sound, so we go up higher. Maybe we've kind of boxed ourselves into a corner. We've gone higher than we want to, so we have to jump lower. But we just kind of work through it the very best we can. Most often, though, we do the least amount of shifting as possible, which means that if the root note is alphabetically adjacent from one chord to the next, that we're probably staying on the same form, the same string, roots on that same string. But if it's further away than that, a lot of times we are going to the other string set. So let's take a look at the two songs that we're going to play here in this video and jam together on. So on page 108, the first chord is a D5, so we get the power chord. Well, I have a D at the 5th fret of the 5th string, so I can just put down my 5th string form there to play that chord. Then there's a G5, and I have a G at the 3rd fret of the 6th string, so I can go down and play the 6th string form there. So you're seeing, hopefully this works just like our bar chords do. Then we've got a B5, and I could choose if I want to go to the B. I have a B at the 2nd fret on that 5th string, and I could go to that one. Or if I want to jump higher, maybe I don't want to go down that low, I have a B at the 7th fret on the 6th string, so I could go up to that one. And then I've got an A at the 5th fret on that 6th string. So I can play this, and it's all down strums. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and just using those forms like that. Now, of course, I could have started out with the D at the 10th fret and used that one. I also have a G at the 10th fret if I go to the 5th string form, and a B and an A or an A. And maybe if I did that, I'd say, you know, I really don't like going up that high to the G. I like the other one. So you can play with it a little bit. You can maximize and learn all the different ways that you could do it and then decide which one you like best, or just kind of go with whichever one works intuitively. As we're jamming together, I'm just playing kind of whichever one comes intuitively to me on these songs. Strumming pattern. All down strums. Couple things when we're playing these power chords as an application here. I am using my index finger to play the root, and then I am letting it just lightly touch the higher strings so that they don't ring. They would sound muted if I were to actually inadvertently strum them. I am trying to keep my strumming tighter and not strum them, but if I get to them, if I get to those higher ones, they're just sounding muted, and I just tried to play them really loud there so you could hear that if I hit them, you would have a muted sound. Mostly we're just trying to keep our strumming really tight. I'm doing all down strums, as that's what's called for there with number 1. Down, down. With this, you can use a little anchoring. I'm using the palm of my hand sitting kind of on the bridge of the guitar. Allows me to have an anchor point and just kind of play. I don't want them to mute the strings. That would create a palm mute, which is something different. Learn about palm muting in lesson 14 with the strumming pattern explanations there, all those lessons on strumming patterns. But we can do a palm mute, but I'm not trying to do that here. So I'm going to stay off of those, but you can anchor the palm of your hand back on the bridge or on lower strings, or just back behind where you're not getting the palm muting sound there on the bridge. And that can help you kind of find an anchor point to have a nice, tight strumming pattern. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 uses the same chords, except it has an E5. So you have a D5, then an E5. Those two are alphabetically adjacent, so I can go up to E5, down to the G5, and back to the A5. Same strumming pattern. So that's how that works. We're going to jam together now, you, me, and the band, on those two songs. And we'll just go over and over. Each one will happen at 2 different tempos. They repeat 4 times. So you'll play each one of those 4-bar progressions 4 times for each of the tracks. They'll happen at 2 tempos, a slower tempo and then a faster tempo. So you get to jam right along with me, working on getting these power chord shapes happening with those 2 progressions. It's going to be super great. Let's go ahead and jam together. Okay, awesome. I hope you're having fun with this. We're off to a good start with power chords. In the next video, we're going to do 5 more of the progressions from lesson 16. So we're going to work some more on these power chord shapes. It's going to be great. Take care, and I'll see you again. Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to check out more great content. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.